Okay, go ahead and turn to page S11, page 11. We're going to look at lesson 3. I know we're skipping 2. You already know how to do lesson 2. So we're going to jump right to lesson 3. So for the opening exercise, what I want you to do is I want you to find the rule for this first table. I know on your paper you have a table on the left and a table on the right. Right now, this is the table on the left. So go ahead and pause the video, try to find the pattern or the rule between the numbers on the left and how they change to become the numbers on the right. So go ahead and pause it and resume when you're ready. Okay, so now you probably are wondering what the rule is. So you'll notice we have 1. What do you do to 1 to make it 1? What do you do to 3 to make it 3? Well, to change 3 into 9, you have to multiply it by 3 to give you 9. If you look at 11, to make it 121, you have to multiply it by itself, 11. So when you move left to right, you're multiplying it by itself. That's known as squaring something. So you might see it as an x with an exponent of 2. That means squared. So now let's apply this rule to the numbers on the left that we have nothing on the right. So 15, we're going to square it. 15 times 15 is going to give us 225. 10 squared is going to give us 100. 12 squared is going to give us 144. Now we have m. We don't know what m times m gives us, so I'm going to put m squared. So now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to move from right to left. And we have to think, what do we have to do to the numbers in the right column to change them back to the numbers on the left? So we're going to do the opposite of squaring something. The opposite of squaring something is taking the square root. The square root symbol looks like that. Notice how there's no number there. When there's no number given, this is called a radical. When there's no number there, we always assume it's 2. So I'm going to do the square root of 81, gives me 9. Square root of 49 gives me 7. Square root of 169 gives me 13. Square root of n. Oh, I forgot 2. 2 squared is 4. All right, now let's go ahead and look at the second table. So you have to find the rule for this one. This one's a little harder. So if I look at 3, you have to multiply 3 times 3, which gives you 9, times 3 to give you 27. So this time you're multiplying a number by itself how many times? 3 times. So that's known as cubing something. And this is when we move from the left column to the right. So let's go ahead and cube stuff. When you cube things in your calculator, you're going to use the caret symbol. That's going to get it to what power you want it to be. So let's see. 11 cubed gives me 1,331. 10 cubed gives me 1,000. 7 cubed gives me 343. P cubed gives me p to the third power. So now we're going to go opposite, and we're going to go right to left. And the opposite of cubing something is going to be taking the cube root. This time I have that square root symbol or the radical symbol, and I'm going to put a 3 there. This 3 tells you it's the cube root. So how do you put a cube root in your calculator? You're going to hit the number 3. You're going to hit second. Then you're going to hit, you're going to hit the caret symbol. And then you're going to put in whatever number that it is. So I'm going to put in mine, which is now 125 for the first one. So the cube root of 125 gives me 5. Oh, 2 cubed, don't forget, gives me 8. Cube root of 64 gives me 4. cube root of 2,744 gives me 14. And I'm going to put the cube root here. Oh, that should be a Q with a cube symbol. If you go on to example 3 in the video, that's 3 slides over, I'm going to actually show you on the calculator what these buttons are. So if you're still kind of unsure, fast forward to where I show you exactly on the calculator, and then you can come back. So you're probably wondering why in the world are we focusing on this today. So today we're going to focus on solving equations that have square root symbols or cube root symbols. So if I want to solve for x, the opposite of squaring something is taking the square root. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. When I take the square root, the squared and the square root cancel. And I'm left with x equals, when you want to plug this in, take a look on your calculator. Notice right here is the square root symbol. See how that's in light blue? That means you have to hit second, then the x squared button, and then you could put in 25. So again, that's second, x squared, and then you can put in 2, then you can put in 5. And the square root of 25 gives us 5. Not so bad. This example is not in your binder, so you might just want to write it down on a sheet of paper. Next example is x squared equals 25 to the negative 1. Notice how this time we have that negative 1 that wasn't there before. So I'm going to take care of the negative 1 first. In order to get rid of this negative exponent, I have to do 2 things. The first thing I have to do is I have to flip it, and then I have to make the exponent positive. And when I say flip it, I mean find the reciprocal. So I'm just going to rewrite the problem again so you can see how it's changed. I have x squared equals 25 to the negative 1. When I want to find the reciprocal, I have to put the number, and I have to make it into a fraction, so I'm going to put it over 1, and I'm going to draw some arrows. So when I do that, I'm still left with x squared, but this time it's equal to 1 over 25, and now I take my exponent of 1, negative 1, and I make it positive. So now this is the equation I have to solve for. The opposite of squaring something is taking the square root. So I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So my square root and my squared cancel out, and I'm left with x equals. Now you're probably wondering how to put in the square root of 1 divided by 25. I need you to do it this way. So just like last time, you're going to hit second square root, or x squared, I'm sorry, to get the square root. So again, that's second x squared. And now you have to put in the fraction. So you're going to hit 1. And instead of using division as our fraction line, we're going to use the ABC button. And now we can put up the denominator of our fraction, 25. 2, 5. So again, you have to do second x squared, 1, ABC, 2, 5. And when you take the square root of 1 divided by 1/25, you get 1/5. Last example. Sorry about that. Last example here, we have x cubed equals 8. So now we have to figure out the opposite of cubing something. The opposite of cubing something is taking the cube root. Notice how when I wrote that, I put the little 3 in front of the square root symbol. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So I'm going to take the cube root of the other side. The cubed and cube root cancel out, so I'm left with x equals. When you want to put in the cube root, notice right here, there's a square root symbol with an x in front. So you have to put the number that you want to do the root to. This time we want to do the root to 3. So you're going to plug in 3 first. Then you're going to hit second. Then you're going to hit caret. Now, right now, your calculator should read a big 3 with an x and a square root symbol with a parenthesis. If it doesn't look like this, go back and follow your steps again. 3 second caret. Now I'm going to go ahead and plug in the number 8. So you're going to hit the button 8. And then you're going to go ahead and hit enter. And you should get the cube root of 8 gives you 2. Remember, if you want to do the cube root of a fraction, you're going to use that ABC button. Okay, this time we didn't have a fraction, which is why we didn't use it. So the cube root of 8 is 2. So now what I need you to do is I need you to go through and work on exercises 1 through 9. Your problem set is your homework for tonight.